Hey guys, um, not feeling the best today. I've been in pain mostly, and I don't know. Well, I know, but then I'm learning how to trust my inner voice, trust how I feel, and also trust the messages that I get through other people, right? So I learned last month that there's a such thing as doing too much inner work to the point where you forget to live in your skin. You forget to allow yourself to just be. And I also know that I tend to lean between two extremes. I can either do too much or I can do too little. So I'm learning how to balance both extremes. So again, recently I learned that I can be too introspective to the point where I don't give myself a break. I'm always finding something to pick apart about myself, or I'm always finding something to fix. And it's like I hold that over my head. And I also know that I could be a perfectionist due to my own fears. And since I put a name to my fears and all of these things, it's like I don't operate from that place anymore, or I may slip up and operate from that place, but I'm conscious of it. And I'm able to reevaluate after. And then once I reevaluate and sit with myself and talk to myself, then all I could do is hope for the best next time. So what inspired me to make this video was that I was watching another video on YouTube, and this girl was talking about being selfish is essential for growth. And the part that made me hop off and come here is when she was like, when we're coming out of a people-pleasing place and you start making decisions for yourself, like you start making decisions that is good for you, it may feel like you are being narcissistic, or it may feel like you're being too selfish. And I catch myself feeling like that most of these days, because I recently had to distance myself from people. I had to distance myself from habits. I had to distance myself from mindsets. So a habit I had to distance myself from was smoking. And I needed to do that because I realized that I like being active. I like sweating. I like my body. I like the things that it can do. Our bodies are capable of a lot of things. Like, look at athletes, look at dancers, people who perform in the circus, the acrobats people, and the people that do the trapeze and shit. They be tossing themselves. Like, our bodies are amazing. But they got there by walking away from things that did not help them to achieve their limberness. And I realized the difference when I stopped smoking, how deeper I could breathe and how easier it is to breathe. My chest doesn't feel as heavy, you know? And I posted a video a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, about me slowing down, like, all the way. Not that I wanted to, but I just felt like it just happened naturally in a way, because babies, sorry, I see kitties. So once my period started, she sat me down all the way, because at one point I was turned up. I was up at 4 o'clock doing my projects, boom. Then after that I was working out, then boom, after that took a shower, boom, after that I ate, boom. Like, I had a cohesive routine, which was the reason why I had to separate myself, because I needed to focus on myself. I needed to figure out what my values were, what my talents were. I had to research myself, but I couldn't do that because I was always out all the time. I didn't have a chance to figure out who the hell I was. So, my stomach is killing me. Anyway, excuse my background. I don't know. They're distracting me. Like, this couple, they're talking to each other, but the guy is loud, like really loud, and just distracting me. But anyway, so I am in a place where I'm trying to figure out, or I'm discerning whether or not I am being narcissistic, or if I'm being selfish in a healthy way. And I feel like I am doing it in a healthy way, because now, again, I was able to discover that I like working out. I like being active. I like learning. And I figured out my talents. Well, most of them. You know? So it's a good thing. But it's just because it's new, it feels like I'm being selfish. I've never done this before. So it's gonna, it's gonna feel like that. I remember when I was a little girl, my family used to call me selfish all the time. And I don't know if it was because I was a child. And honestly, I learned somewhere, and I kind of believe it now, that children are not naturally narcissistic. Anything that happens to them, they think is their fault. They've done something wrong. But this is only because they just got here. So they don't understand nuance yet. They don't understand feelings yet. They understand their feelings, but they don't understand the world around them yet. So naturally, everything's my fault. So I don't know if it was because I was still in that stage of child development, or if I was legit just a kid that knew what she wanted, knew what she didn't want to share, and just that's that. Because even in that instance, children still also have to balance sharing and knowing when to, keep for themselves. But that requires a lot of socialization, a lot of play, a lot of teaching, a lot of mindful teaching that a lot of parents fail at doing miserably. But most of us teach children to share because it's nice. You got to be nice. You got to make friends. But then what happens when you teach them to share too much? What if they're too giving? Or the opposite. What if they are too selfish? And because people are calling them selfish and calling them mean, now they turn into the adult or the child that gives too much because they were told they were too selfish. And now they don't know how to balance the two. I'm that child. But then again, nuance. There's other, reasons. There's storylines that I have told myself. There's things that I have observed with other people, and it's a lot more. But again, how do you teach a child to balance their own needs and others around them while they play, while they socialize? And I posted a reel and a video, I think last week, about social currency, and that I can be socially awkward. And now I'm responsible for putting myself into spaces where I have to socialize. I'm responsible for that. But now I also know, yes, this is my responsibility, but I'm not going to put myself in any old social setting just for the sake of learning how to be social. Because now I'm learning that I do have autonomy and I have choice. I have power in my choices. Oh, these are so pretty. I know that I don't want to be in any old place just for the sake of connection, just for the sake of socialization, just for the sake of, again, connection. I'm not doing it. I used to do that. It's over with. It's clipped. Because all that did was land me into not necessarily unnecessary, but it did lead me in some challenging situations that I had to navigate on my own. Yes, it did help me to figure this out now today, because if I wasn't, like I told my therapist the other day, if I wasn't in those situations, I wouldn't know what I know today to talk about. I wouldn't know these things. But again, if I'm going to be social, I want to be around certain people.
Hello?
I want to...
Hello? Yeah.
I want to be in certain spaces to cultivate this social currency that I want or that I need to operate in life. And I was laughing because, this guy, y'all heard him, most likely. He was on the phone. He was saying hello. And I remember watching a video about the origins of language and communication. I think it was a TED Talk. TED Talk. There we go. It was a TED Talk. And they were talking about how communication started. And when he was saying hello, It reminded me of that video. And it's funny that we're talking about communication now. And also, what goes along with learning about communication and social currency is cultivating your own sense of self-assuredness, which goes back to learning about being healthily selfish, positively selfish, however you want to put that, but being selfish in a good way, because it develops your confidence, it develops your power, essentially. Because this also brings me back to what I was talking about with kids. You shame them for natural responses, and I believe a natural response would be to protect their own needs, their own selves, because 9 times out of 10 they don't feel safe in some capacity. You shame them for defending themselves, and then when they get older, they're going to stop doing it because they relate that to shame. They relate that to being wrong. So now they don't do it. You see how crazy that is? And this is how I feel about it. With the information that I have gathered and that I have learned, I could be right or wrong. I'm open to either possibility. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say today.